All right. So like I just mentioned now, you can see here, do the same to install OWASP machine. The same steps that we followed for installing Metasploitable, you can follow that same step. Like the reason why I wanted to take it before, because uh I was hurrying out that day, and at the end of the day, I was able to guide 2 or 3 persons on the challenge that could arise in the process of installing the OWASP. So it is not something totally different from the steps we followed, but in case you have file directory issue whereby you navigate to the installation folder and you cannot find the installation file, I told them what to do. All you need to do is to copy that file to a different what directory. So which I want to believe they will assist you on. So what I want to teach the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, I should be done with it. So the remaining last 30 minutes. So the good individuals will help us to do justice. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. It does not actually, we can bring in the OWASP anytime, because we already have one what target machine installed, which is a Metasploitable. So everything you practice with Metasploitable can as well be practiced with what? OWASP. It's just like you saying that you want to target one computer to hack, or you want to hack one computer, instead of you saying you want to hack what? 20 what? Computers. So what we need to learn is just to what? To learn with one. You can hack one computer if you want to what? To learn penetration on other computer. So even though we are installing all of them, I may not use all of them. Okay, so while we are installing them, just to be there as backup, in case you are trying to probably get certain information from Metasploitable to practice your ethical hacking and it's not going, you can fall back to what? OWASP. Sometimes it could be that the Metasploitable is not opening, and you still want to practice whatever you want to practice. So consider what? The OWASP. There are other platforms where you can install more than 3 machines. If you want to install up to 20 machines, there are other platforms where you can do that. So I think I'll give that to us as an assignment. Go and discover other platforms where you can get these design machines for practicing ethical hacking. Now, let me quickly dive into the section plan. Don't forget that so far so good, we have covered how many sections? Section 1 focused on introduction to what? Ethical hacking, right? Section 2 was, I think section 2 focused on, one of them focused on network fundamentals, right? And I know section 3 was the one I just spoke about now, setting up installing your virtual what? Machine and target machine. Now, it is assumed that you have successfully set up your hacking lab. You want to start learning the scripting languages that are going to aid your communication during what? Penetration testing, which is the same thing as the ethical hacking. Now, it is very clear, no matter how you want to jump the process, it will catch up with you. If we go to practicing hacking now, the question you ask yourself is that, what are the languages, what are the programming languages you are going to use to write the code, which will be used to either perform information gathering about the targeted machine or penetrating into what? The identified vulnerable what? System. So you need a language. You must speak one of the language. And you cannot tell me that you are going to speak Isoko, my language. You can't tell me that you are going to speak Igbo. You can't tell me that you're going to speak Yoruba. So you need a language. So these various languages that we need to write our ethical practicing codes, they are called what? Scripting language. So every cybersecurity expert has one or two scripting languages, programming languages that he or she uses in practicing hacking or ethical hacking. So this section is actually dedicated for learning the basics. Remember when you came, I told us that ordinarily you ought to have graduated from Python class. You should have Python basic language. You should know at least how to work with Python coding syntax. Ordinarily, you should have knowledge of Linux. Remember, I told us that what? Linux is an operating system, right? It is an alternative operating system to your traditional operating system like Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11. Okay? So, when we were learning Security Plus, we took our time to remember, to understand as part of the technical skills you need to master what? The Microsoft Windows. You should remember, where we talk about skills required for you to practice what? Ethical hacking, soft skill, technical skill, and which other skill again, if you were there? Technical skill, soft skill, and which other skill? They want to start opening notes, and you are waiting for me. Eh? For you to be, you mentioned something now. And what? Analytical skill. I don't want to stop because I'm recording online. If not, I will have yabbed you guys this morning. I'll talk later. Okay, so like I was saying, we understand Windows already. Everybody in this class understand how to manage what? Microsoft Windows as the host's what? Operating what? System. Now, in this case, I have Windows 11. Windows 11 is the one that is hosting a player, right? And the player is the one harboring all my hacking machines. Whether what? The one doing the hacking and the ones that what? We are targeting. So if we want to use Linux as the hacker, remember that we install what? Kali what? Linux. And I said the Kali Linux is the hacking what? The machine is the hacker itself. Is the one that have already come with pre-built what? Pre-built what? Components or command for practicing what? Ethical hacking through a player called what? Virtual box. Okay? Now, being an operating system, don't you think that it is wise for you to understand how it operates? How does it speak? How does it communicate? We should know basic writing code syntax of Linux. It is an operating system that runs on a machine. But in this case, it's running on what? A virtual what? Machine. How do you operate a machine when you don't know the mode of what? Its operations. So the whole of this section has been designed to teach us those basic things ordinarily you ought to have acquired before coming for this program. And what are the three scripting languages you must learn, or the one that are mostly used by ethical hacker? One is what? Linux. Linux is playing the role of what? Operating what? System. The second one is born again shell, which is what? Bash. Born again shell. You see all this funny name. You are supposed to be born again, no? Born again shell.
It's different from the one you are born again shell. It's a language, it's a scripting language. For those of us that will start sorting for remote job later, don't be surprised they ask you simple question. If you claim you are an ethical hacker, what are the scripting languages you understand? This is how the question can come. So you are expected to mention what? Linux. You use it as what? Operating system what? Scripting language. Bash for creating what? Function. For launching what? Attack. Python, the same thing. You know, Python is one of the most used ethical hacking scripting what? Language. Do you know why? Because it's the AI what? Is the AI. Okay, so Python is the most used scripting language in this field. Why? Because it's the AI what? Language. Now, let me draw our attention back to the Windows Security Plus section, where I said, trying to record what I said there, that is very important for us to key into as one of the reasons why Python. Good. We talk about what? Cyber security evolution, right? We have to talk about what? Legacy to what? Advanced to what? AI and machine learning. So the era of practicing cyber security has gone beyond what? The legacy era. We are in what? Advanced and what? AI slash what? Machine. Where most of your security threat analysis will be carried out by what? AI what? Applications. You are not going to probably stay on a machine and try to manually be looking for whether there is what? Vulnerability, or whether there are threats coming on that device or that system. There are now AI integrated. The antivirus we have these days, they are stronger, far stronger than what? The antivirus we used to have those days. Those days, you can have a licensed antivirus and still be contaminated. That is what? The system can still be infected. But you can't try it these days. There are powerful antivirus, provided your money can what? Purchase it. So this antivirus, they have already created in them cybersecurity what? Feature, such that if you open a website and you are browsing, you are transacting information between the server and what? Your system. The antivirus will also be checking whether what? The node, whether there are viruses that are coming in, or whether there are what? What's it called? Ransom what? Where? Malicious what? Software that are coming through those things you are downloading, and tell you immediately. All of this I'm saying is for you to know why you should spend some nights to study these three languages if you want to be good at what? This field. You cannot avoid Linux, but you can avoid what? Bash, provided you are going to adopt what? Python. So that is what this session is made up of. Now let's quickly look at the overview of this section. Let us start writing now. Overview of this section. An overview of this section. What is our target? At the end of this section, what are we expected to what? To learn is what I meant by overview. So what are the overview? In this section, like I've highlighted, we will be going over basics of what? Linux and a few scripting what? Languages that will overall help you improve your skills as a hacker. So just to split it down, we'll be going over what is an operating system. So we will have that proper understanding what an operating system is. We'll also be looking at what are scripting languages in this field. What are scripting languages? And then we'll also be looking at basic Linux commands. We'll also be looking at Bash scripting language basics, Python scripting language basics, and then PowerShell language basics. Now, let's quickly look at what exactly is an OS. What exactly is an OS? I don't know if this is a bit tiny. Let me see if I can increase the view. So once I get to the practical aspects, I will switch back to it. I think it's better. So what exactly is an OS? An operating system is the software that directly manages a system hardware and resources. An operating system is the software that directly manages a system hardware and resources. System hardware and resources. Just to add to it, like your central processing unit, which is CPU, your memory and the storage. So it is a software that manages the CPU, the memory, and the computer storage. As we are all taught in our basic computer classes, that every computer or system, being its phone, must run what? An operating system. It is the operator that govern the activities. So why we have Android phone? Because of what? The operating system running inside it. Why we have iOS? Because of what? Operating system running inside it. So just to expatiate, I also highlighted here that the OS sits between application and what? The hardware. You should always know that what? Each time you are running app like Microsoft Word, the OS is the one that sits between what? Both of them. If you look at this diagram here, this diagram has explained it up. This is the user, where you have your icon. This is the layer. This is what? The application software. Now, where is the OS? Look at it. The OS was installed inside what? The hardware, right? That means what? The hardware receive what? The OS in order for it to what? To be able to manage its resources. And the part of the resources it manages are what? The application software that are directly what? Sitting on the what? The OS. And then from this, you have user interface. So this is how the computer background is structured. Even with our traditional Windows 11 that we are using. And that is why we have the user interface where you have your icon. That is the window interface provided for a user to be able to navigate around the operating system. So just to break it down, I said, think about an OS. So there is an analogy I'm using here, which will help us. I said, think about an OS like a car engine, an engine that can run its own. Hope you know that if you have visited all this mechanic, you know that that engine that is in your car, they can start it to making noise without being in that your car body, right? To make noise, but it will not move from where it is. But that same engine that is making that same noise, by the time they couple it, they add the wheel and the others, that engine will start what? Moving. So your OS is that engine in your system, which needs the what? The application to run. So the applications are the means in which you run the OS. You implement the OS actions. So in conclusion, without the engine running properly, the rest of the car would not work. So that is why most time you see a virus prioritizing attacking OS than what? Applications that are run on that OS. Because you know that once it can corrupt the OS, all your file and app are in danger. Just to know that even the virus itself knows how important the OS is. Can we move now? No or yes? That fast too, so that we can get to the main hacking on time. All right, so now let us quickly look at what are scripting languages. Since we now understand what an OS is, as part of what we have scheduled to cover in this session, what are scripting languages? A scripting language is a programming language designed for integrating and communicating with other programming languages. A scripting language is a programming language designed for integrating and communicating with other programming languages. Okay, so remember that under the scripting languages, I have once mentioned that there are two of them that are basically important for ethical hacking practices. The first one is the bash. Just to define it, it is a scripting language to work in a Kali interface. So for you to be able to navigate around or within the Kali operating system, you need to understand basic syntax of bash, how code are written in bash. It is a lot easier to use bash to create scripts than other programming languages. Just to also explain further, it describes the tools to use and code in the command line and creates useful, reusable scripts and conserve documentation for other people to work with. So you can see a lot of advantages accrued to this particular scripting language. So which means that you should prioritize learning it. It's very important. So let's talk about the Python as another scripting language, which is very much used in the field of ethical hacking. It is easy, free and open source, which means that you can easily download and install Python. Python is a very simple language, yet powerful scripting language. It has a lot of libraries that can be used for both for hacking and for writing very useful normal programs other than hacking program. So Python is vastly used. It's not just this field. Almost every field of AI today apply Python. And one of the strengths of Python, as I have used Python in different domains, I use Python for data analysis. I use Python for machine learning, and I use Python for cybersecurity. So from what I have come to observe is that the reason why the Python is more popular is because of the libraries availability. What do we mean by library in programming? The word library means what? Collection of functions. So Python has different modules where he has assembled different functions as templates that you can plug in data analysis. You can plug in also in cybersecurity and other trending tech area. So that is why if you are looking forward to learn any programming language for now and the future, the language will be what? Python. Even in web development, Python have a library called Django, which is for implementing backend. You know, somebody want to ask question. Don't ask that question. It's not valid for this class. So let me wait for us to write before we go to the next slide. All right. So now let's look at so let's quickly talk about what exactly is the Linux. What exactly is the Linux? So the Linux is an open source alternative operating system that can be run on almost any hardware. So I've explained that before, that whenever we hear Linux, Kali is just a version of it. The main OS is what? Linux, operating system. It's an open source. That is, it is free. It is lightweight, not large in size, like your Windows 11 and the rest. Very light in weight, very secure, and typically command line focus. what does that statement mean? It means that it does not really have a user-friendly what interface. Most of the execution have to be done by writing what commands through the text editor you are using. There are literally hundreds of what flavors. That's what different versions known as distros. So that word distros is used to explain different versions of what Linux that are available on the web. Just like the way we have a Windows 10 Pro and the Windows 10 Basic and the rest of that. They are just the series of it versions. The one that we will be using in this program for learning how to penetrate or ethical hacking is Kali Linux, which is designed primarily to be used for penetration testing or ethical hacking. So this particular version has been programmed for this purpose. But mind you, there are other versions there. So now let's look at basic of Linux, the terminal. Basic of Linux, the terminal. Basic of Linux, the terminal. So a lot of things that you will be doing on Linux, we focus on using the command line, which I've emphasized before. So you will need to get used to using it. So what we are going to do here, there is a terminal. The terminal in this case is just like our IDE. For those of us that are already in programming, you know that an IDE is like a development environment where you write and deploy or execute your code. So you need an environment, an application to write. So the question is that where are we going to write this Linux basic code? We are going to be using what? An interface called what? Terminal. So to access the Linux command line, you need to open a terminal. And don't forget that it is an operating system. That terminal, it is what we call in Windows command prompt interface. That place that normally show you black and then you see cursor. If you don't want to communicate from the user interface, you can communicate through the command line. Every operating system have command line interface. So in Kali, how are we going to get this terminal? In Kali, we will click on the black box. We will click on the black box with a white outline along the menu that you see on the top of the screen. So that is how we are going to get it. So I will show us all this once we switch back to our virtual box. All right. So let's quickly look at basic Linux command. So we are getting to where we will go and start verifying some of these commands now. So there are only a handful of commands that you will need to know to navigate Linux properly to become an ethical hacker. So which means that we are not focusing on everything. We are just hitting the nail on the head. Exactly what you need for you to be able to use Linux as your hacking machine. So which means that on your own, you can deepen your knowledge by, if you want to go beyond the ones that I have been able to put together. So, but we should also take into consideration that it is case sensitive. That is, where you are supposed to use cap lock, if you don't use it, it will not output the expected results. Can we proceed? All right. Now, these are the commands. These are the commands, but I will not allow us to, or should I give us time? I think I should give us time to write them. What I will do is that I may not be able to cover all of them in this class because I want us to be doing the practical at the same time. So let me give us 10 minutes to write this one. I still have another one in another slide. So let's write this one first. So once I come back, I'll switch to the terminal that I spoke about, and then we start practicalizing. They are case sensitive. So even if I make mistake, I don't think all of them are in lowercase. And space sensitive. There's a reason why I space that. Look at that ls. That ls, I space before I type what? LA. And if you check that touch, I also gave space before I type what? Test file. So anywhere you see space, you must add it when you are coding. Yes. Space LE, LS space. Just one. I just make it obvious so that you take a look at it. Yeah. SU Kali. There is SU Kali here. Yeah, there's space. SU Kali. There's space. Yes. If it's not important, I will not add everything I put there is needed. We are so that we can run some of. All right. So now let's move there. All right, now, remember that there was a step that I highlighted that for you to get the terminal where you are going to be executing, writing and executing this code. So I have to leave here now. So let me quickly exit my slides. So all you need to do is to switch back to your virtual box in case you are. I know you have written the step, but in case you want, you have already captured the steps on how to execute this basic line. So once you have started your Kali, and how do you start your Kali? Of course, you click on it, then come here and select what? Normal what? Starts as usual. So let's all start our Kali. So once we have started the Kali, we will now, yes. Then we will now call out the terminal where we are going to be writing and executing those basic syntax we just wrote. Let's wait. Kali is coming up. I hope some persons have not forgotten their password. I feel like me now, my password is Prosper. Yeah, with all this hacking, they'll start hacking now. There is hacking. Yes. Everything you do from now to the end of this program will require internet. So there shouldn't be any single day you come here without making provision for internet. At least 1 gig. So they are not heavy internet too. Even 5 gig can do a lot of work for you. So now this is how your Kali, this is how Kali work. Down. Library in programming. Collection of what? Functions in the program what? Memory. It's called library. Just like when you have book library, where you go there and sort out your books. So now, once you install the application, the OS, like we have installed it, when I was, or when we were going through the installation, there was a place where I mentioned one of the reasons why Kali Linux is our hacking machine. It is because it comes with what? Built. Which means that there are some that are already in. Now, this is where you need internet. The technology is advancing. Okay, so most of the code that came with it must have what? Been outdated. So what you do is that you run a script to update such code. Then you need internet at that point. So now let's continue. So this is your Kali interface. How do you call? Remember when I was displaying my slide, I said black box, right? This is the black box. That when you click on this, you see what? This is the terminal. Okay, so once you click on it, it will open a terminal. That terminal, now look at my own. If your own is asking for this, it means because you selected what? Roots. Root means what? You are the first user, the administrator. You know, even in Windows, when I was teaching us user accounts, I talk about standard accounts and what? Administrator what? Account. How did I differentiate them? I said one have some privileges that the other one does not have. Can somebody remind me? A standard account cannot install, right? You cannot install if you are running Windows standard what? User account. You cannot install. There are a lot of things that only the administrator can what? Do. So the same thing. There are some code. Pay attention here, because when you run a code and it's not giving you the expected result, and the next person to you have run that same code, you now think, ask yourself, are you running this script on administrator account or standard account? Look at it. Let me exit here. When I click on that black box, there are two options there, right? One is power shared. Well, sit down. I will answer your question. All right. So now, terminal emulator and what? PowerShell. You can see the command from the angle, that angle bracket attached to both of them, right? That is the command prompt icon. Now, if you are using this, let's start with this. People are distracting now. So we are still on how to activate the what? The Linux what? Coding terminal. And I told us that that coding terminal is going to act as the IDE, integrated development what? Environment, where every programmer writes and executes what? Code. So I'm clicking on this, and that will open it up, because I've already exited the root that time. So that time I exited, it has already what? Projected me in without me going through root. But I may have some issue. There are some commands that if I want to write, it will ask me that what? It is only the root account that I can implement them. So then I will now go back. So now that we have executed this one now, if you come back here now, you see that what? The root is now active. That root that is keeps me from before. So if I click here now, each time you want to go through the root, it will ask you for the password. So I'll type that password. The password you use in creating your user account, that's the password you are typing. Then you authenticate it before it prompts you here. You can see now, this is the main root. That one was just emulator, the one that is copying this one. Yes, I close and go back again so that I can have access to that root.
But people are still not following me.
Who is not following me? Okay, still loaded. Don't worry. So we are in the terminal now. We are in the terminal. there's a shortcut that you can actually use to launch this terminal. You press Control Alt and then press T. Control Alt plus T will actually give you what? The terminal. But it cannot guarantee you root what? Terminal. Okay? That is the other option. So if you want to get the root terminal, then you have to go through Control Alt, then T. Yes. All right. Now, let's go back to the command prompts. Let us go back to the command, those code that you were writing. What's the first one? If I want to know the user, who am I? Now, listen, I will try as much as possible to relate some of this to the way you operate your window. Now, I will start by asking you some questions. Look up. After installing your operating system, Windows 11, right? If you want to check the name that was registered with that OS, how do you normally achieve that in Windows 11? You want to know the name, the username, the owner of the system, who was registered as the owner of your system in Windows 10 or Windows 11. How do you access that? You go to this PC, right? Yeah. You right click, right? You select what? Properties, right? To now show you your system bits, the RAM, and all those, the name of the person, right? Now, I said something that Kali Linux is a command-based operating system. That's why it's not user-friendly. That's why it is not, you will not find most computer users running what? Kali Linux. Because it's not user-friendly, it's command-based. Anything you want, you have to speak, you have to write code. Now, this first code, I say, who am I? Who am I? Check the line of code you wrote before. Who am I? Is to do that work of what? Going to PC, right-clicking, and then selecting what? Property, before you can see the name. So you simply type it, who am I? Look at it here. Who am I? Just click if it's not typing. Click there and type who am I? The way it is, like I said, it is case sensitive. So once you press enter, it has outputted. This is root. This is root. Now, let's run this same code on the what? The other terminal and see what we get. Please, let's be connecting. I don't think I've done anything that you will lost. Show me back to show the username and password again. I'll run that code. Who am I again? So if it's not typing, just click. Who? Wow. You can see Prosper. But when I ran it under root terminal, it did not output what? Prosper. So it means that while it was asking for that password, you were not working from your own accounts. There is an administrative account before that gave you that Prosper account. How will somebody can decode it? Those that are distracted now. Did you understand what I just explained now? Let's go back to how I taught us how to create user accounts in Microsoft Windows 11, right? There was an account there before we were creating what? Another one, user accounts. So that root is that first account. Then we were able to create, after partitioning, another account that we assign different what? Password. So in Linux, when you go through that root, that first one is the host account, the very first account. So which means that the moment you install the Kali Linux, there is an account already. And that account is called what? Root. So there are some syntax, there are some code that can only be executed if you are in the what? The roots. So as we continue, when we start the proper hacking, there are some scripts we will write. When we execute them, we will not, it will not allow that will access deny. Access deny. Once you get that kind of information, it means that what? You are not executing the script from the right account. You don't have the privilege. That is when it's happened like that, you close, if you are writing that script on this user account that attributed your real username, then you quit here and go and use what? That rules. You see that what? You get your results. So now that is what we have just outputted. I have given us the meaning of all this code in my slide before. So I'm not waiting for you to be writing. It's just what? To be learning how to what? Execute them. From what I gave you there, I said, this one, who am I? Outputs users what? Name. That is the note I gave you in that slide, right? And that is what we have outputted now. The next one is host name, right? The next code there is what? Host name. So when you run host name, when you run host name and press enter, what do you get? Who is the host of this account? Who gave me this account? It's Kali. Remember, that was where we were having conflict of what? Two user accounts when we were not what? Kali. When some person were using new user and what? User. That's why I said you use two different names. So if you have used the same name for that other one and the user account, then that place that says Prosper will have what? Kali. And then here we also read what? Kali. But why is my own showing Prosper and Kali? Because I use different. Good. Exactly. Good. I hope we are following. Ngozi. Oh. Let me pause. If Ngozi no follow, that one enable you to know your current working what? Directory. I want to know where I am. Now, let me explain this. Please, let me explain this. I think, thank God, I can see switch to my window. Look at this. As I open this now, what is my current directory? This is window 11 now. What is my current directory? This PC, right? If I go to desktop now, what is my current directory? Desktop. You see what I usually do now? If it is Kali, you have to write that code to get to know where you are. You see it now? Which is what? P W what? D, right? You press it. Look at this. You are in what? Prosper. Prosper is in what? Home. So you can see the reason why if people have to learn computer with Kalinino by now, there's only one person who might get learning computer in a whole of Asaba. So these are the challenges Windows have been solving. Windows are very user-friendly. You don't need to be an advanced computer user before you can manage what? Windows. But this one is not for basic learner. Do you have questions, Ngozi? Just me. So let's execute another one. Let's go to our notes. The next one is ls, right? Now you have been able to know where exactly you are. You are in home, okay? So if I type ls, what did I say is the function of ls? Is to see the list of directory out of which can you see it now? So you can see, this is just like you coming here, look up. Just like you opening this Window Explorer, and you are seeing this list of what? You have download here, you have document. This is your window equivalent to. That is what you just ran this code to achieve now. In what? In Kali. So in Kali, you want to know how many directory, in other words, how many folder, right? How many domains I can store things. We have what? Desktop. We have document. Remember, I said this program, this language is case what? Sensitive. If you want to enter desktop now, that's what? CD desktop from your notes. CD desktop. Now you have viewed the list. Let me know whether it's even the next one. I think it's after that one, after the next one, from what I gave you, right? I have ls space hyphen what? LA. If there's no hyphen, you add hyphen to your own. I have what? ls like this, space hyphen LA. So this one will give us what? What did I say is the function? Show what? All the file. All the file. So if I run it, look at what I have. All the file in that directory, in that space hyphen. You must put space first. Okay, so now, what language are we speaking now? What language are we speaking that we will eventually need when we start performing penetration testing? What language are we speaking, Ngozi? What language are we speaking now? Good. ls space hyphen la, just to view all the files. Press enter. Now, look at this. If I type clear, let's say I want to delete everything, just type clear. It may not be in the one I gave you. There are many others that I'll be using sometime. If I say clear now, what has that done now? It has what? That is delete. That is when you highlight everything in the folder and press what? Delete. Just type clear and press enter. Let's say at some point you have written some script and you want to clear everything and start again. You just write it. So what is the next one? So let's quickly do that. What is the next one? Let's just do ls. Let's just do ls.